Taketsuru. It means bamboo crane. This is the story of how a name became a love story, and how a love story became the name. On the coast of the Seto Inland Sea, in Hiroshima Prefecture, there is a town called Takehara. It smells of salt and rice wine. It has smelled that way for a very long time. The Taketsuru family had been brewing sake there since 1733. Generation after generation. Rice becoming sake, the same way their fathers did it, and their fathers before them. There is a story about how they got their name. A crane came and built a nest in the bamboo grove behind the family's house. Cranes mate for life. In Japan, they say a crane lives 1,000 years. The family took it as an omen and changed their name. Taketsuru, bamboo crane. In 1894, a third son was born into this family. He grew up in the brewery, watching his father brew sake the same way his grandfather had. But one day, he tasted something that was not sake, something amber and foreign. What is this? So he went to find out. In December of 1918, Taketsuru Masataka boarded a ship for Scotland. He was 24 years old. The Great War had just ended. The seas were still dangerous. A company had sent him. They wanted to make whiskey in Japan, and they needed someone to learn how. He enrolled at the University of Glasgow, studied chemistry. But he was impatient with lectures. He wanted his hands in it. So he went to the distilleries. Cold mornings, peat smoke. He shoveled barley and cleaned the insides of copper pot stills. He breathed peat until it lived in his clothes. And one old distiller taught him something that stayed with him the rest of his life. Press your hand against the outside of the still and listen. Not measure. Listen. Masataka filled 2 notebooks with everything he learned. Drawings of stills, notes on peat, on water, on barley. how to read copper by touch. He was far from home. He was learning something no one in his country knew yet. Her name was Jessie Roberta Cowan. Everyone called her Rita. Doctor's daughter from a small town called Kirkintilloch near Glasgow. A young man she loved had died in the war. Then her father died, and the family had no money. They took in lodgers. Rita's sister Ella was studying medicine at the university. She brought a Japanese student home to teach their younger brother judo. He started coming back. He brought Rita perfume from Bordeaux. She gave him Robert Burns. Christmas 1919. The family pudding, with a sixpence and the thimble hidden inside. Old tradition. The man who finds the coin gets wealth. The woman who finds the thimble will make a good wife. He got the sixpence. She got the thimble. The family laughed. Neither of them had said anything yet. He proposed at Loch Lomond. She said yes immediately. His mother wrote from Hiroshima. No matter what happens, do not marry a blue-eyed English. Her mother asked for the marriage to be annulled. They married anyway. January the 8th, 1920. A registry office in Glasgow. No church. The families wouldn't allow it. Only Rita's sister and a friend stood beside them. It was enough. They traveled through Europe, across the Atlantic, across the Pacific. It took months. Rita was 23. She would go back to Scotland once. 11 years later. A short visit. She never saw her mother again. They arrived in Japan in November of 1920. And the company that sent him to Scotland collapsed. Unemployed, a foreign wife, a country where she was a stranger. Rita kept them alive. She taught English. She gave piano lessons. She learned to make pickles and salted fish. She learned the language, the customs, the cooking. She didn't leave. Years passed. Another man hired him to build Japan's first whiskey distillery. 10 years he spent on someone else's dream. But but it wasn't his. He wanted to make whiskey the way Scotland taught him. His employer wanted something easier to sell. He left. And then, Hokkaido. The northern island, snow, peat, sea air. A place called Yoichi, on the coast, at the edge of Japan. He chose it because it reminded him of Scotland. He built her a home that looked like the home she'd left. They couldn't sell whiskey yet. It needs years in the barrel. So they sold apple juice and waited. The barrels holding what they'd put into them. Then the war came. Pearl Harbor, December 1941. Britain and Japan were enemies. Rita was British. The military police came to the house. They said she was signaling submarines with a radio. They searched, found nothing, came back and searched again. Neighbors she'd known 20 years stopped speaking to her. Children threw stones. She had lived there 20 years, learned the language, learned the food, kept her husband alive when his first dream fell apart. Followed him to the far edge of the country because he said the snow reminded him of where she came from. None of it mattered. The stones came anyway. But the workers at the distillery, the ones who made the whiskey with her husband every day, they didn't turn away. They stood with her. She didn't leave. She stayed. Rita died on January the 17th, 1961. She was 64. She had lived in Japan for 40 years. Before she died, her youngest sister, Lucy, came from Scotland. It was the first time they'd been together since 1931. Someone who knew Masataka said they had never seen an adult so distraught. He never remarried. The year after Rita died, he made a whiskey, called it Supanika. It was not a product. It was a letter to a woman who could not read it anymore. He carved both their names into a single tombstone on a hillside above the distillery. Promised they'd be together. He died in 1979. They buried him beside her. Taketsuru. A crane nested in bamboo behind a family's house, and they loved the omens so much they took it for their name. Bamboo. What bends and doesn't break? Crane. What mates for life? The name was always the story. They just had to live it first. In Yoichi, the main road through town is called Rita. The town that threw stones named a road after the woman they hit. A kindergarten she helped start still has her name. And in Kirkintilloch, the town she left at 23, her kimono sits in a museum. A bridge between her two worlds. The distillery in Yoichi is still there. They still fire the stills with coal. You can visit. Walk the grounds where two people built something that outlasted everything that tried to break it. The whisky Masataka, named for his family, Taketsuru, pure malt, has won Best in the World 10 times. Bamboo crane. What bends and doesn't break? What mates for life and lives 1,000 years? This story was told by Ku, with art and music by Nessa. The Butterfly and the Crane.